Happy Friday, TGIF. We made it, y'all. Another day to be grateful and enjoy all your blessings. Kiki coming to you today to send nothing but love and peace and positivity your way. Yep, as you can see, I'm on the road again. Got some things to do, some errands to run. Starting off my little trip and my breakfast with some fruits, some berries. Make sure you get your berries in. They have great vitamins and nutrients. I want to say what's it called? Antioxidants. They have all the good things you need. So don't just think it's all about only apples, because people say apples a day keep the doctors away, but it's all types of fruits that can provide nutrients and benefits. Don't think watermelon is the only fruit. I know that's like a staple that a lot of African Americans go to, but there are many fruits out there that can also provide the same benefit. But I know watermelons, they do grow better in tropical regions like Florida. So also you gotta make sure you get these clean before you eat them. So here we go. Just right. I don't like strawberries that's really hard and tart tasting. I like them nice and juicy. So I think that's the reason why I had this red birthmark on my neck, because I think my mom was hooked on one of the red fruits, and I believe it was strawberries or watermelon, one of them. So I want to talk to you real quick, kind of share my thoughts, my opinions. Actually, we'll be opening the doors to gain some insight from you guys. And typically I'm a very private person. I'll just put it that way. And when people share stuff with me, I try my best to keep it confidential, depending on the circumstance, depending on the situation. But I'm not the type that like to be quick to be like, ooh, let me spread the news, let me go ahead and jump in the grapevine algorithm. I'm not on that. But anyway, I know what I'm about to share, everybody's going to have their opinion, and it may, start a little gossip trend, but it's okay, because I'm opening the doors and I'm welcoming that energy so I can alchemize it. All right, so as you've been following me or know that in many of my videos, I talk about a lot of the betrayal, a lot of the abuse, a lot of the things that I've been through being married over the, past 25 something years, right? Unfortunately, I had to fully separate. I separated from my husband twice. So the first time I separated was back in 2022, and because this was my first experience being in a separation and actually going through all of the motions with infidelity and all that kind of stuff, I didn't really know the pros and cons of being separate. And then, I didn't really think it through because I was really in my emotions. I was really devastated, very hurt, because I also experienced, abuse. And I kind of kept it to myself because it seemed like every time I tried to reach out for help, it was more like I need to toughen up, or I need to stop being so sensitive. That's the feedback I would get from the people in my circle. Or they'll just absorb all of my information just so they'll have something to gossip about, just so they can feel good about their situation, which is rocky. Ain't too many women in my family have a stable relationship. So it's like when I'm going through something, it's like that's bringing good news to good. At least I know I ain't in no fucked up situation. But anyway, so when I separated in 2022, and I did mention this in a few videos way back, like last year, I was pretty much targeted by my first love, my first high school sweetheart. He came in and kind of ran game on me, and just to get me back in, and pretty much he spent the block, but in a very sneaky way, knowing that he was in a marriage that he wasn't happy in. He thought I was going to fill in that spot, but he continued to be married, and that wasn't going to work for me. So let me really get to the point that I'm trying to make. All right, when I separated from my spouse, my intentions was to really focus on healing, recovering, and getting my bag up. and I was distracted by my first, but my intention wasn't to go back and deal with my first. I kind of fell in the temptation of familiarity. I was, that was comfort, because I really wasn't trying to date, knowing that I was still in the phase of the paperwork of my divorce. So when my husband came back into my life, and because during the time we were separated, I just kind of focused on working, taking care of my kids, and then my first ex came in to try to entertain me, but that was short-lived, okay? And I do take accountability, because I should have been more knowledgeable and recognized the game, but because I had been in a relationship with my husband for so many years, I didn't even know what kind of sharks were swimming around in the sea waiting on me to put my foot in the water. I didn't know that I was being, watched and followed, and things fell in place for me to fall in the trap, pretty much. And I wouldn't say I was trapped. I was hurt, vulnerable, and he took advantage of it. But when my husband came back into the picture, I really wanted to stay married, because that, I was comfortable, even though I did not like being abused, even though I told him that I want change, I want improvement. He felt like what he did wasn't that bad. He felt like, in his words, it's not like I put my hands on you every day. But when he put his hands on me, it's not like a little tap. This nigga was strangling me and cursing me out and making me feel like I was worthless, to the point where, he knew I had depression already from my childhood trauma, but he added insult to injury. So mentally, he was trying to get me to break down, and that's because he wanted full control over me. See, when you're married, and if you go into a nervous breakdown, or you have some type of mental health issue, narcissistic, greedy men that look for opportunities to come up, they'll come up on your weakness. They will target you and make it seem like you are not capable of taking care of yourself, and they'll try to get other people in on it so they can have the upper hand. So they pretty much trigger you and know how to, say things to trigger your childhood trauma or your traumas, and even if it's adulthood trauma, so you can feel less than, and so then they can feel superior, and then they can take advantage and make it seem like, something wrong with you, when it is something wrong with you, but it's more wrong with them, because they are really doing different things to hurt you intentionally, okay? But I was strong enough, and I had protection, thankfully, from my ancestors and my spirit team to keep me and carry me through the challenges of that type of marriage and situation. If I was barefooted and pregnant, that's how he wanted it to be. If I was looking attractive to any guys, instead of him really, being man enough to say, okay, I'm proud that my woman looked good and get attention, he was more breaking me down and making me feel insecure, making me feel like, I don't, ooh, what happened over there? Just seen 2 police officers. I don't see any car crash, but it's something going on. Where everybody getting out of the car with their luggages. Anyway, so here's how the story goes. So he comes back into my life. We try to see if we can reconcile, but he came back with a baggage of extra women. So we were already struggling in our marriage with already his past and exes and women that he worked around and, throwing themselves at him. But now, since our separation, he went and collected some more women. So when I'm with him, we're trying to confess and talk about, what went wrong and who did what. But he only came back just because tax season was coming around, and he knew that I had access and the upper hand to get taxes. So while I'm with him during that year, he getting text messages from one woman begging to come back, saying she loved him. Now this is the 72-year-old or the 74. She was one of them. And then another woman that he ran into, Jamaican woman that did some type of work with elderly people. She throwing herself at him, trying to get his attention. So it was like, when he came back, he did not come back with a clear slate. He came back with bullshit. Now, on my end, I cleared out the shit that my ex tried to bring into my life. I explained to Tony that I'm going back to my husband, and I don't want to have anything else to do with him. And I confessed and told his wife, what the circumstance happened, because I didn't want that on my conscience, and I'm not that type that I don't want people to think I go around and try to break up marriages, because I didn't want anybody coming in and breaking up my marriage. Unfortunately, it happened anyway. But here's the thing. During the whole time my ex was with me, he kept telling me that he's tired of working. He's tired of working. He's been working since he was 12 years old. I don't know whose fault that is, but I guess apparently he felt like I should have sympathy for him. Now, at the time, he was recovering from an injury that happened while we were separated. And none of the girls that he slept with came back to help him. So I was the one that opened up my doors and welcomed him back into my life. Now, during the time that he was recovering, he was just at home on a computer, on his phone, claiming and pretending that he was doing work or trying to start a business. But I felt like it was more to it than him trying to start a business. He was still keeping in touch with some of those women. And then he had a TikTok page where he had nothing but, women following him and trying to communicate with him. So I'm like, how can we heal from the trauma that went on in our marriage previously, and then you bring in baggages when you're trying to reconcile? It doesn't make sense. But because I loved him and really wanted to see the potential in him, I fell for the okie doke. And so eventually it got to the point where we really just did not have respect for each other. He would do sneaky stuff, because we used to travel a lot with my daughter basketball team, and there were a lot of single mothers there, and a lot of them, they wanted attention, they looked good, and if he's staring and hoping and gawking somebody look his way, it would cause issue. And it got to the point where, okay, men started looking at me, I guess, while my husband was looking at other women. But he didn't like that. He felt like, let me look at other women, but I don't want nobody looking at my wife. That's the type of mentality he had. And so eventually, I just said, fuck all this shit, fuck the matrimony, all this, death do us part, because he was actually spiritually killing me, because I really tried to believe in him, but he kept hurting me with every little thing he would do and say. And he kept trying to be, in control of my life when he barely could control his life. You can't control somebody else's life when you can't even control your gratification or your temptation and impulses and stuff like that, and unhealthy addictions. So, I just lost faith in him. I did not feel like he was capable enough to being a leader in my life. And he did not really put in the time with my girls, because his own personal family, like with his mom, his daughter, brother, they kept draining him with all their issues. So he didn't just bring in his own personal baggages, but he also brought their baggages in. His first daughter went through some type of abuse, domestic violence and infidelity, and his mama, was going through medical issues and being homeless because she, did not use her money wisely. And it was just different issues that kept interfering with us reconciling. And every time I tried to reach out to go to a counselor, he kept knocking it. He kept saying he didn't need it. He felt like he had everything under control. That is part of the reason why, that was my motivation for making my skit. If you check out my previous video of, a narcissistic person acting like they got everything under control, that life was my life. That was what we experienced. That was something I experienced. But so me trying to depend on him for emotional support, financial support started to go down the drain. He started to act like, just everybody needed to cater and bow down to him, because he fucked up on his job, because he was busy being distracted. And if he fucking around with women on his job, I can understand why he probably had an accident. That was either karma, or he was busy gawking somebody on his job. I wouldn't doubt it. But, luckily, he survived. So, even though I hate a lot of his ways, I don't wish anything terrible on him, because everybody do things for a reason. And a lot of his behavior comes from his father and his mother. When you start off with a fucked up foundation, then it kind of it plants a seed, a damaged seed in you, and then you start growing up with some really distorted thoughts and behaviors and taking it out on other people that's trying to love you. So, I mean, that's why I can't be too mad at him. But when he decided to come back to me, and eventually I gave up on him in our marriage, that's when he decided to confess to me that he cheated and slept with somebody on his job, some Hispanic woman. And he knew I was sensitive about that, because he would always brag about how beautiful Hispanic women are, and he's so attracted to women like that, but yet his ass, trying to beg me to stay with him. Like, it was so... Okay, so here's why we keep bumping heads. I feel like he does not want to take accountability. I'm sitting up here confessing all my personal secrets, and I know what I did and what I did wrong and what I did right, but he refuses to own up to it. Like, and I got receipts that he cheated. So I'm trying to, I don't understand. It's not like I need him to repeat it. I'm not trying to beat him over the head with his actions, but at least say, you know what? Yeah, I did mess up. Yes, I did. But no, it's like an excuse. Yeah, it ain't like I hit you every day. Yeah, it ain't like I yell at you and crash out every day. Yeah, it ain't like I fucked everybody every day. Yes, you did fuck around, but he want me to be okay with that. Because it wasn't every day, or it wasn't with every girl he ran into. But it was some of the girls he ran into, but not every girl. So he want me to be that stupid enough to wait around on him and support him with those behaviors and those habits. So recently, and I know I can be petty, and that's because I feel like I have every right to be a petty bitch, because I'm trying to get him to understand that I'm trying to get a divorce, but he's holding me up. And I feel like it's done intentionally. But how you can't give me a divorce and you done came across almost $3,000 in almost over 3 years? No, 300,000, not even 3,000. It was more than that. And I'm trying to move on with my life and let him have his freedom, but he want to play around and act like, well, you the one want the divorce. I didn't ask for the divorce. But you said you wanted the divorce, so why are you changing your mind now? Is it because you're afraid that I'm gonna run into somebody better than you? But the thing is, when I bring this up, because he called himself trying to give my kids advice about what to eat and what not to eat, and yeah, I do it too. But I'm like, don't just talk about don't eat bread because it's side effects to eating bread. Talk about its side effects to cheating. That's what time I'm on. Fuck that. Bread. Yeah, it's not always healthy, but I think cheating is more detrimental than eating a piece of bread. I typically like either wheat bread or raw bread, but at the end of the day, talk about how cheating is the leading cause of broken marriages and broken families, and how it causes depression in the spouse and the children, how it causes financial losses. Talk about how it causes paranoia, because you don't know which girl you facing that he probably done slept with. That's paranoia. Or when you go to sleep at night and you trying to hide your phone because you think your wife gonna get the secret messages from your side pieces. That's paranoia. Talk about how it causes suicide. Some women or some men can't bounce back from cheating. You know, when you pour your time, your heart, your family, welcoming your spouse and all this in the family, and then you turn around and get slapped in the face looking like a damn fool, thinking that you in love and they in love with you, but they around here talking about they love all the other pussies out there that's free and loose. How about it causes you to lose property and money and pets? Talk about that. How lying can cause the spread of STDs. Talk about that. Lying and sleeping with people, telling them that you clean and you good when you know damn well you got a contaminated dick. That's what infidelity does. That's what cheating does. That's side effects. That's a lot of side effects. That's destroying your mental health and your physical health. So when I speak on stuff like that, which I ain't lying, that's when he want to come back. Well, don't forget, I know some stuff about you too, but he can't tell me not one thing he know. And assumptions don't count. People that hate on me, that want to make up lies on me, that don't count. Of course, the guys that I did talk to, of course, Tony might lie on me because he mad because I didn't want to be a third party. Of course he gonna lie. People gonna lie when they can't have their way with you. But you tell me, what do a woman supposed to do if her husband is out there cheating, right? And she doesn't have a lot of money to quickly get a divorce, but he have the money and refuses to go through with it, and he decides to want to come back after he done shared his dick with every other woman out there and already compromised his wife's body and pH balance, and he comes back and say, I want my relationship back. But the wife say, no, I don't want to get back with you because you broke the trust and you lied too much and you done, smeared my name and everything like that, with pillow talking with every female and all your family members. So tell me, what do a woman supposed to do? Do she supposed to wait around and then all her sexual urges just die until her husband decide to come back and show her some affection? Do she supposed to say, okay, well, the paperwork, the legal documents of our marriage said that we're not supposed to cheat, but then the husband still cheat, but the woman's supposed to remain faithful? Is that what that's supposed to be? But the man decided to break the vows first. So what do a woman supposed to do? If she's trying to move on with her life and go ahead and start emotionally healing herself. No, I wouldn't recommend a woman to quickly jump into another relationship with another guy. I was thinking that was the way to do things, but that's not the way you do things, because a lot of men would say, okay, well, you're still legally tied, and you might treat me like a rebound, or you might still be in love with your husband, which I know that's not the case for me. But you tell me, because I'm not gonna. The government already done fucked up my life with a lot of different things. So why should I let my love and my heart be put on hold until they approve me to move on? Like, really? Approve me to get emotional fulfillment, from somebody else, since my husband failed to do his part as a man or a leader of the family. I'm struggling financially, and I got to play the masculine role because he busy pouring money into all the females he fucking around with, to his sad stories from his own mama and family members. You tell me, please help me see a way out of this shit, because I'm tired of dealing with it. We've been separated permanently since 2023, summer of 2023, and I have not been back with him, and I'm just chilling, trying to stay focused on my money and improving my mental health and healing my heart. And I'm not going to allow him to close my heart up completely to make me hate people or other men, so he can just have the enjoyment of coming in and out. Because that's what normally happens when a woman is lonely for a long time. She just decides, well, I can't find nobody else, I can't find no other love, so I'm gonna go ahead and just go back to my husband and accept his abuse and his cheating behavior. That's what a lot of women do. They feel like they're limited because of financial situations or because of legal documentation. That shit ain't gonna hold me back. And I guarantee the next love come in my life, I'm gonna make sure they realize and know that they ain't no rebound. Not in my world. You treat me right, I will treat you right. You be honest with me, I'm gonna be honest with you. That's what I believe in, give and take. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of get that off my mind and my chest. I'll probably be back soon with some more information. You are welcome to like, respectfully comment, and please share and subscribe. This will help me bring positive information to other women that's probably going through the same thing. Don't give up on yourself. Don't allow a narcissistic man or woman to come into your life and make you feel like you don't have power over your life. You are in control of your life, and you know what you're willing to accept and what you're not willing to accept. So with that being said, I love you, and I will be in touch. Peace out.